All right, welcome back to our very last session of the day. Thank you all. You are truly heroic warriors in service of Equitable AI for being here all day. We have many of our distinguished speakers still with us, and I've invited them to come up for a panel discussion. We're going to keep this brief because there's delicious food outside, and I know many people are hungry. So we'll try to wrap up by about 6:20, so about 10 minutes early. I want to start things off by asking just a very simple question. What are your takeaways for the day? And we would just hear 1 or 2 minutes from each speaker. What are your takeaways from today, from everything you've had a chance to think about? And of course, it's integrated with your work over years, but just sort of what would you like to leave us with? And after that, we'll open it up for a few questions from the audience. Questions that kind of cross-pollinate a little bit will be particularly interesting. Go across what multiple speakers have talked about. So with that, I turn things over first. Which side would like to go first? I see Alicia with a mic, so yeah, okay. Alicia Carey first.
Thanks, I really enjoyed hearing about some of the ways that just kind of reclaim technology. So the indigenous language and having those sorts of things, and also with Otter and just having those two more inspiring.
I told them they better cut your mic, Alexander. I said, don't. I said they're not ready for this guy. All right.
One of the takeaways I had was the importance of distinguishing harm from injustice. So just a quick example, I own a gas station in the town, and I make a lot of money from it. Then another person moves into the gas station, he moves into the town, starts the gas station, and if my notion of harm was being made less well off, under that very thin notion, I've been harmed because this guy is coming to this town and starting a gas station, so I made less well off. But it's unclear that rises to the level of injustice that where I can constrain his freedom of association. I think a lot of the discourse around fairness and bias and algorithmic fairness is kind of like we talk about harm, kind of equate that with injustice, or we equate technical bias with political bias. And I think it's really important to conceptually distinguish those things and show that a lot of harms that we think actually rise to the level of social political injustices. I think it's a huge gap there in a lot of the research.
So I guess my major takeaway from this meeting is that there's so many different points of view here, that there are basically so many different types of nerds that we can all look at a problem and come at it from different aspects. We have a philosophical aspect, we have a mathematical, probabilistic, or linguistic perspective. And as a computer programmer, I have one way of looking at a problem, and that's my tool. And every problem, it's like a hammer. Every problem looks like a nail. But in a meeting like this, I can see other perspectives. I can see how a philosopher thinks, and I can take away from those discussions information and ideas that I can use.
Yeah, I think my big takeaway would be optimism layered with deep sense of the risks seem to be increasing
So just introduction of who I am again. Gloria Washington, Howard University. I came at this from the perspective of being a human-centered computing person, looking at it from the aspect of culture, things like that. Found out from at least some of these afternoon sessions, I should maybe go back and get a law degree. And then also maybe philosophy. There are so many different things as it relates to fairness and to me, how they sort of feed into each other and how from your talk, it seemed like a lot of law was influenced by philosophy. I could be wrong, but I could be right, but I don't know. So maybe I should get another degree.
I never got a law degree myself, and I often think about this, and I can tell you it's not necessary to learn some of this stuff. Yeah, I mean, I guess I was going to say that I've been working on this like way longer than I sometimes realize, and I think, is there really more to do? Like, have we kind of like explored most of the space at this point? And I think today I was reminded, I was like, no, actually there's still a lot to explore, and there's still a lot of unresolved questions. And I think it's really exciting to see new people enter the field. I was like super encouraged by the session I went to right before my talk to see more junior folks doing like incredibly creative and thoughtful work. Yeah, I guess it's to say that even though seeing the field mature over the years has also meant it's hard to kind of stay on top of things. It's also exciting to see that there's still a lot of interesting, important work that's happening.
All right. And are there any questions from the audience, in particular questions that might connect some of these speakers? Dr. Nyarko.
So we have spent the whole day looking at the issues with AI, algorithmic bias, fairness. I want to get a sense for a call to action that will be appropriate given the context that we've explored today. What things can we do going forward? Each one of you, just give me your top, I don't know, one recommended action that we can take, we can walk away with, excuse me, to help address some of the issues that were raised during your talks.
I think we can take that in any order.
So, I think we need standards. I think we need to all have standards that everybody can agree on, not just the people who are designing, not just the people who are impacted by them, but everybody, particularly people. The standards for what is bias, what is a data set that we can use that to test bias, what are algorithms that are effective.
Yeah, I would say similar like conceptual clarity, clearing the underbrush. Yeah, so my favorite quote about philosophy, like the job of philosopher is to clear the underbrush, not create more weeds. So yeah, so I would say like conceptual clarity and understanding should be like the first thing you should be trying to understand the problem space and think about solutions.
And I guess like increasing participation between who's actually building and has control over those pieces.
And I think from like the people that do the more technical work, taking the self-responsibility of understanding that your work is going out into the real world and is going to harm real people. So kind of think more about the work you're actually doing.
Guys, I think we kind of covered it. And I just want to add on very slightly that we are entering a new world where these large language models are stopped being toys and recognized. And like honestly, they're not very efficient. They're doing things that we
So I come at this from a different perspective. To me, there were no community partners, people who were invited to this. So I do believe that we're all smart here. We're tech, whatever. The field needs to be more people at the table giving their input. This is, great to have us here, but in order to really understand some of the unintended consequences, we are going to have to invite the community to show them what this AI is, what our mathematical models are in layman's terms, so that they are not black box and they can understand them, because we're creating it, but there's some things that I don't think about, as an underrepresented person, and there's unintended consequences that I can't even fathom.
To maybe build on what I just spoke about, I think there's actually a lot of existing relevant law that has not been applied very effectively so far. So sometimes when we talk about AI, it's sort of treated as if like this is a lawless area, right? Where like no regulations exist. And AI is being adopted in heavily regulated domains where there are many existing laws that actually address concerns with fairness. And I think the technical community in particular can really play a huge part in helping regulators and advocates and enterprising lawyers actually like bring these cases. And so like one, I think, very obvious direction is just to apply the laws that we have already more effectively.
Fantastic. I wasn't watching the time because I was, of course, just listening to the fascinating things being said. One more question. I think, oh, all right.
Sort of going back to the final talk about disparate impacts, and it was sort of said that there's a minimum level of things that can be done to try to prevent those minimum impacts. Like, what are the things that you all see as the basics that companies should be doing? And in your perspective, are they doing that right now? Are they doing the basic stuff to look for disparate impacts? And what sort of would you say are those things? I think, one example in the, I guess, yeah, I'll leave it open-ended, yeah.
And we can start from anywhere on that.
I guess I can go ahead and start. This goes back to, I think, the first talk of the day. I can't remember who it was, but nothing for us without us. And so companies should take a greater initiative at working with the, actual communities that they're building technology for.
So I think we also need more openness in the models that corporations are using. They need to not only share their algorithms, but their data, so that they can be regulated. They're not working in a dark room somewhere, but they can be not regulated, but at least understood by everybody, so that we can know what we're getting.
Yeah, that's a difficult question. I'm not sure. I'm skeptical that it's reasonable to apply universal standards for corporations. But maybe one thing might be to just understand social context more in which models are deployed. So yeah, but again, I don't know how you standardize that. And it's hard for me to even think about like transparency. I think that's like a good norm, but it's unclear to me how you incentivize it for private corporations to want to do it, especially when they're competing against one another, like with technological innovations that I should like make my model to you. Principle sounds like a good thing, but I'm not sure how like we actually do it.
And I guess it seems like there should be better incentives that companies want to do it. So I feel like in the privacy domain, there's the signal messaging app, and DuckDuckGo is a search engine, and these alternatives where people can demonstrate they care about these values. And so maybe in this space, there can also be ways that consumers can incentivize this.
I think there's two things. Number one, they should actually pay attention to their pocketbook. I had a Simon for it, of course, Ability AI, who was last year, indifferent to profitability, but the whole company was collapsing. And you also kind of see that in the industry, that these large language models are not profitable. Yeah, that was like, number one. Number two, I think there is no silver bullet except for one thing, and that is faith and diversity, inclusion, and equity. Like, it always makes a difference if there's a woman engineer or people of color in the room raising their hand and saying, should we be putting shotguns into this kill bot? Like, like it takes that person with a different point of view, because it's typically the demographics of a software engineer, machine learning scientist is it's a monolith, and just having a woman in the room or someone of color does make a difference. Because often, unfortunately, usually it's me. Like, does this really make sense? Should we be burning so much compute time for very little ROI? I found myself in difficult conversations with my leaders when I work in corporate. They're like, why? Sure, it's cool, but it takes someone to say, this is nonsense, and sometimes it's the diverse voice that is necessary. And I think that might be the only real solution, is making sure there's more diversity in the workforce of where the research is being done.
So I'll say at a granular level, thinking of it like from a scale AI perspective, if they could release some of the annotations that they are doing and to create these models. Specifically, I'm thinking of automatic speech recognition, how they're creating these automatic annotations. If they could just release one or two. And the reason why I say that is that we would hopefully, as algorithmic people, be able to use them to understand some of the biases that could propagate into the applications. But they make money from those annotations, so that's not going to happen. And they make billions of dollars from it, so it's not going to happen. But I think that they should.
Was that everyone? You have a question? Oh, okay. Okay, last question.
Hi, I'm Morgan, student at business school. So I would like to congratulate all for organizing this, especially Dr. Nayarko. So my question is, what can we do as a Morgan student to make AI more just and equitable?
So I'll answer it from a computer science standpoint of learning the foundational models that are out there so that you can speak intelligently about them, and also hopefully know about the long range implications that come from their usage, because then, to me, from a foundational standpoint, you'll be able to understand the basics, and then from there teach others, because at the very least, we're gonna die, and the young people will need to understand these models. We're all smart, we need to get some of the other people in the room who may not know, so go back and teach.
All right, let's give a round of applause for our speakers. I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Nayarko to close things out.
So I know I am standing between you and the reception and going home and all that good stuff, so I'll keep this very, very, very short. First is just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It takes a lot to take time out of your day and to do something like this, both on our speaker side and also on the audience who's participating. I'm hoping that this was informative and it wasn't just a listening tour, but it made you think about ways in which we can contribute to solving, well, maybe not solving, at least addressing this problem. It's not going to go away. Algorithmic bias has been with us for a long time. And now that AI is becoming more prevalent, I can imagine that we'll see a whole new crop of other problems come into the forefront eventually. So we should be extra vigilant, and I do believe in a call to action, and I'm trying to think, is there a general one that I can do right now to send you guys home with? Stay tuned, stay engaged, and listen to those voices. Have a diversity of thought and opinions in what you do so that you don't have a myopic view of the potential solutions to new problems that we will have. I promise this wouldn't be a long speech, so I'm going to stop right now. Thank you, everybody. We're going to have this again every single year if I get my wish in life. So you will be seeing this again, and I just ask that you take your learnings that you have had, both on the stage and in the audience, do work with that, and come back and tell us the good things you've done next year. Thank you. And with that, go eat. And then go home at your own schedule.